Imagine you're standing in front of two doors. Behind one, there's a guaranteed prize, something familiar, something safe. Behind the other, well, it could be better, but you don't know for sure. The moment you hesitate, the ambiguity effect takes hold. We humans crave certainty. It's wired into us, a survival instinct passed down through generations. The unknown feels risky, even when logic suggests it might not be. And here's the twist, it shapes almost every decision we make. Picture a restaurant menu. You glance at the specials, but they have no descriptions. Then your eyes land on a dish you've had before, safe, predictable, reliable. Which do you choose? Most people pick what they know. Even if that mysterious dish might be incredible, its uncertainty makes it feel risky. This bias doesn't just affect what we eat, it influences investments, relationships, career choices. Have you ever stuck with a mediocre job instead of jumping to a new opportunity? Maybe you weren't sure if the next job would be better. So, you stayed. Not because it was the best choice, but because it was the certain one. The experiment that revealed our hesitation. Now, let's go deeper. Imagine a study with two groups. One group is given two urns with different colored balls. They know one urn has a 50% chance of winning, while the other, unknown odds. Time and time again, people pick the known odds even though the unknown urn might offer a better chance. This experiment, first introduced by economist Daniel Ellsberg, highlights a crucial point. Ambiguity doesn't necessarily mean a worse outcome, but we instinctively avoid it. Even when logically, the unknown could offer a better reward. This same hesitation applies to trust. Imagine two doctors. One has hundreds of reviews, the other has none. Even if both graduated from the same school, most people pick the reviewed doctor, simply because ambiguity breeds doubt. How the ambiguity effect shapes the world around us. Marketers and politicians exploit this bias. They create false certainty, bold statements without proof, promises without evidence, all because they know humans prefer confidence over the unknown. Consider advertising. When a brand launches a new product, they rarely emphasize how different it is. Instead, they compare it to something familiar. Just like your favorite shampoo, only better. Why? Because framing something as similar to what we already trust eases that hesitation. Political campaigns use the same trick. A new candidate might promise predictability over radical change, knowing that people will naturally lean toward what feels stable. Even if the alternative could be beneficial, ambiguity makes it seem risky. But here's where things get really wild. Sometimes, the ambiguity effect works against us. Imagine a groundbreaking discovery, an innovative treatment, an unproven technology. Because of our fear of uncertainty, we hesitate. We dismiss potential breakthroughs simply because their outcomes aren't guaranteed. Look back at history. People once doubted airplanes, electricity, even the internet. In the early days, those ideas felt too risky, too ambiguous. But had everyone surrendered to their bias, the world would look very different today. The double-edged sword, risk versus reward, ambiguity isn't always bad. In fact, some of the greatest achievements in human history came from those willing to embrace uncertainty. Imagine two entrepreneurs. One launches a safe, proven business model, a coffee shop, a clothing store. The other takes a risk on a new idea, something untested. The first is comfortable, predictable. The second, unstable, but potentially groundbreaking. When Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone, many thought it was a gamble. A touchscreen phone without buttons? It sounded risky. But those who embraced the uncertainty found themselves ahead of the curve. The ambiguity effect holds us back more than we realize. Think about moments in your own life, opportunities you hesitated on, simply because you didn't know enough. A job, a trip, a relationship. Did uncertainty push you toward the safer choice? Have you ever played it safe, only to wonder later, what if I had taken the chance? Mastering this bias, learning when to embrace uncertainty, might be one of the most valuable skills we can develop. Overcome the bias. So, how do we override the ambiguity effect? How do we train our minds to take calculated risks rather than always retreating to the familiar? 1. Gather more information. Sometimes, ambiguity exists only because we don't know enough. Before dismissing an option as too uncertain, ask yourself, do I actually lack information, or am I just afraid to seek it? 2. Reframe uncertainty as opportunity. Instead of viewing the unknown as risky, start seeing it as a chance for growth. Some of the best experiences in life come from the unexpected. 3. Recognize when certainty is an illusion. Just because something feels safe doesn't mean it's the best choice. Stability can be deceptive. The comfort of certainty isn't always worth the trade-off. Final thought: what are you avoiding? Before making your next decision, pause and consider. Am I steering clear of risk because it's genuinely unsafe, or simply because I lack information? How many opportunities have you left unexplored due to fear of the unknown? Maybe it's time to take that leap.